Unlock cosmic mind power, motivational speech. Inside every human being exists a vast and limitless intelligence waiting to be awakened. A cosmic mind power far greater than fear, doubt, or circumstance. Most people live only on the surface of their potential, reacting to life instead of consciously creating it. But the moment you realize that your thoughts are not small, random events, they are energy, everything changes. The universe responds to clarity, belief, and intention. When you discipline your mind, you begin to align with a deeper force that has always been guiding growth, creativity, and transformation. Your mind is not confined to what you see. It connects to possibilities you have not yet imagined. Unlocking cosmic mind power begins with awareness. The thoughts you repeat become the reality you experience. If you constantly rehearse limitation, your world shrinks. But when you train your mind to focus on purpose, gratitude, and vision, you activate a higher level of consciousness. Silence becomes your strength. Visualization becomes your blueprint. And belief becomes your fuel. Every great achievement started first as an invisible idea, held strongly in someone's mind. The cosmic intelligence does not respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty and persistence. You must learn to guard your mental space like a sacred place. Remove negativity, release old fears, and stop identifying with past failures. Your past is not your power. Your present awareness is. Each morning, decide who you will become before the world tells you who you are. Speak to yourself with authority. See success before it arrives. Feel gratitude before results appear. When emotion and belief unite, the subconscious mind begins working beyond logic, attracting opportunities, solutions, and inspiration in unexpected ways. Remember, cosmic mind power is not magic, it is alignment. Alignment between thought, emotion, and action. When your inner world becomes clear, the outer world becomes to reorganize itself around your vision. Challenges no longer break you, they refine you. Obstacles become signals directing you toward growth. The universe favors the focused mind, the one that refuses to quit, refuses to doubt, and refuses to live small. So today, make a decision. Stop waiting for permission to become powerful. Quiet the noise, trust your inner intelligence, and step into the awareness that you are connected to something infinite. The same creative force that moves galaxies also lives within your thoughts. Unlock it through belief, discipline, and purpose, and you will discover that the limits you feared were never real. Your cosmic mind power has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. Awareness is the beginning of all power, yet it is the one thing most people overlook while searching for success, happiness, or purpose. Human beings often move through life on automatic mode, reacting to circumstances, emotions, and opinions without ever stopping to examine the source of their experiences, their own thoughts. Every action you take, every decision you make, and every emotion you feel begins first as a thought. And awareness is the moment you recognize that you are not controlled by your thoughts. You are the observer and the creator of them. Pira, the instant you become aware of your inner world, you step out of unconscious living and into intentional living. This shift may seem small, but it is the doorway to extraordinary personal power. Most people believe power comes from external things, money, status, education, or approval from others. While these things can influence comfort and opportunity, they do not create true power. Real power is internal. It comes from understanding how your mind works and learning to direct it rather than being directed by it. Without awareness, the mind repeats old patterns shaped by past experiences, fears, and societal conditioning. Ways? A person may believe they are making independent choices, yet they are simply replaying learned reactions. Awareness interrupts this cycle. It gives you the ability to pause between stimulus and response, and in that pause lies freedom. The freedom to choose a new thought, a new belief, and ultimately a new reality. Consider how often people say, this is just how often people say, This is just how I am, or I can't change. Now, these statements are not facts. They are unconscious beliefs accepted without examination. Awareness allows you to question these beliefs. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you begin to notice patterns, recurring doubts, fears of failure, comparison with others, or expectations of disappointment. These patterns silently shape behavior and outcomes. The person who constantly expects rejection may unknowingly act in ways that create distance from others. The person who believes success is impossible may stop trying before real effort begins. Awareness shines light on these hidden scripts and reveals that they are not permanent truths, but mental habits that can be rewritten. The power of awareness lies in separation, the realization that you are not your thoughts. You are the consciousness experiencing them. Thoughts come and go like clouds passing through the sky, but awareness is the sky itself, vast and unchanged. When you identify completely with every thought, you become trapped in emotional storms. When you observe thoughts calmly, you gain control over which ones deserve attention. This is where transformation begins. Instead of reacting automatically to negativity, you learn to redirect focus toward possibility, growth, and purpose. Awareness also changes how you experience challenges. Without awareness, obstacles feel personal and overwhelming. Failure becomes proof of inadequacy. Criticism becomes an attack, and uncertainty becomes fear. With awareness, challenges become information. You begin asking different questions. What is this experience teaching me? What belief is being challenged? How can this situation help me grow stronger? This shift turns adversity into a tool for development rather than a barrier to progress. The external situation may remain the same, but your internal response changes completely, and that internal response determines your long-term outcomes. Another aspect of awareness is recognizing the influence of attention. Whatever you consistently focus on expands in your experience. If your awareness constantly searches for problems, you will see obstacles everywhere. If your awareness searches for opportunity, solutions begin to appear. This is not mystical thinking, it is how the brain functions. Your mind filters reality based on what it believes is important. Awareness allows you to consciously choose your focus instead of allowing fear or habit to choose it for you. When you intentionally direct attention toward growth, learning, and gratitude, you train your mind to notice resources and possibilities that were always present but previously ignored. Awareness also strengthens emotional intelligence. Many people try to suppress emotions, believing strength means feeling nothing. In truth, power comes from understanding emotions rather than denying them. Awareness allows you to observe emotions as signals rather than commands. Anger may reveal a boundary being crossed. Fear may highlight an area of growth. Sadness may signal the need for reflection or healing. When you become aware of emotions without being controlled by them, you gain stability. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond wisely, and this ability transforms relationships, decisions, and self-confidence. As awareness grows, self-responsibility naturally follows. You begin to recognize that while you cannot control every event in life, you can control your interpretation and reaction. This realization is empowering because it shifts you from victimhood to authorship. Blame loses its appeal because you understand that your future depends more on your mindset than on past circumstances. Awareness does not deny difficulty or injustice. It simply refuses to surrender personal power to them. It says, "This hap, led, Ned, but I choose how it shapes me." Developing awareness requires practice because the mind prefers familiarity. Distraction, noise, and constant stimulation make unconscious living easy. Awareness grows in moments of stillness, when you pause, reflect, and observe your thoughts without rushing to escape them. Silence becomes a teacher. In quiet moments, you begin to notice the difference between fear-driven thinking and purpose-driven thinking. You recognize how often your mind predicts negative outcomes that never actually occur. Over time, this observation weakens the influence of limiting beliefs. Awareness also transforms the way you speak to yourself. Inner dialogue shapes identity more than external opinions ever could. Many people carry an internal voice filled with criticism, doubt, or comparison. They would never speak to a friend the way they speak to themselves. Awareness reveals this pattern and creates the opportunity to change it. When you consciously replace destructive self-talk with supportive and truthful thoughts, confidence grows naturally. Confidence is not arrogance. It is familiarity with your own mind and trust in your ability to guide it. As awareness deepens, you begin to notice how environment affects thinking. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the conversations you engage in all influence your mental state. Without awareness, these influences shape beliefs unconsciously. With awareness, you choose environments that support growth rather than limitation. You become selective about what enters your mind because you understand that mental input eventually becomes mental identity. One of the most profound outcomes of awareness is clarity of purpose. Many people feel lost because they chase goals shaped by comparison or expectation rather than genuine desire. Awareness reconnects you with inner values. When you observe your thoughts honestly, you begin to distinguish between what you truly want and what you were taught to want. This clarity reduces confusion and increases motivation because your actions align with authentic intention. But awareness also enhances creativity. When the mind is constantly reacting, it has little space for innovation. Awareness creates mental distance from noise, allowing new ideas to emerge. Inspiration often arrives when the mind is calm and attentive, rather than stressed and distracted. By observing rather than forcing thoughts, you allow deeper intelligence to surface. Insights that feel intuitive yet powerful. Over time, awareness builds resilience. Life will always include uncertainty, setbacks, and change. Awareness does not eliminate difficulty, it changes your relationship with it. Instead of fearing uncertainty, you learn to navigate it consciously. You recognize that emotions and situations are temporary, while your ability to observe and adapt remains constant. This understanding creates inner stability that external conditions cannot easily shake. The journey toward awareness is ongoing, rather than final. Each new level of awareness reveals deeper layers of thinking and belief. Growth becomes a continuous process of observation, adjustment, and learning. Instead of seeking perfection, you develop curiosity about your own mind. Every experience becomes an opportunity to understand yourself more clearly. Ultimately, awareness creates power because it returns authority to where it has always belonged, within you. When you are aware, you are no longer driven solely by habit, fear, or external pressure. You become intentional. Your thoughts become tools rather than obstacles. Your emotions become guidance rather than control. Your choices become aligned with vision rather than reaction. Through awareness, you discover the transformatio. N does not begin by changing the world around you, but by understanding the world within you. And as awareness expands, something remarkable happens. Life begins to feel less like something happening to you, and more like something unfolding through you. You recognize that every moment offers a choice to remain unconscious or to awaken, to repeat old patterns, or to create new possibilities. Awareness is the first step, the foundation, and the ongoing source of all personal power. Once awakened, it changes how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see the future. From that moment forward, you are no longer simply living life. You are consciously creating it, guided by the understanding that the greatest power you will ever possess is the awareness of your own mind. Brief. Thoughts are invisible, yet they carry a force powerful enough to shape the direction of a human life. Every achievement, invention, relationship, and transformation that exists today began first as a thought inside someone's mind. Before anything becomes physical, it exists as energy in mental form. Many people underestimate this truth, because thoughts cannot be seen or touched, but their effects are undeniable. The quality of your thinking influences your emotions, your actions, your habits, and ultimately the results you experience. When you understand that thoughts are energy, you begin to realize that you are constantly broadcasting signals that shape how you experience the world and how the world responds to you. Energy moves where attention goes. The thoughts you repeat most frequently become stronger pathways in your mind, much like a trail that becomes clearer the more it is walked upon. If a person repeatedly thinks about fear, failure, or limitation, those thoughts gain momentum and begin to influence perception. Opportunities may exist, but the mind trained to expect failure over low calls them. On the other hand, when thoughts are focused on growth, possibility, and purpose, the brain becomes alert to resources and solutions that support those beliefs. This is not coincidence. It is the natural process of mental conditioning. The mind strengthens whatever it practices most often. Every thought carries emotional weight. Some thoughts create confidence and motivation, while others create anxiety and hesitation. Emotions are the body's response to thought energy. When you imagine success vividly, your body reacts with excitement and determination even before anything has happened externally. When you imagine disaster, the body produces stress as though the event were real. This demonstrates how powerful thoughts truly are. The mind does not always distinguish between imagined and actual experiences. Because of this, repeated thinking becomes a rehearsal for reality. You are constantly training your nervous system through the images and beliefs you hold internally. Many people unknowingly repeat negative thoughts inherited from past experiences, criticism, or social conditioning. These thoughts operate quietly in the background, shaping expectations. A person who once failed may carry the thought, "I am not capable," and this belief influences future actions. Effort decreases, risk feels dangerous, and hesitation grows. Over time, the belief appears confirmed, not because it was true, but because repeated thoughts shape behavior. Understanding that thoughts are energy allows you to break this cycle. Instead of accepting every thought as truth, you begin choosing which thoughts deserve repetition and which ones must be released. The subconscious mind plays a crucial role in this process. It absorbs repeated thoughts without judgment and turns them into automatic patterns. Just as learning a skill requires repetition, belief formation requires repeat. Podcast thinking. The subconscious does not evaluate whether a thought is helpful or harmful. It simply accepts consistency as instruction. This means the energy you send through repeated thoughts becomes programming. When thoughts of confidence, gratitude, and purpose are repeated, the subconscious begins supporting actions aligned with those ideas. When thoughts of doubt dominate, the subconscious reinforces hesitation and fear. Thought energy also influences perception of time and possibility. When your thinking is dominated by limitation, the future appears narrow and predictable. When your thoughts expand toward possibility, imagination opens pathways that were previously invisible. Visionaries throughout history were often people who held thoughts others considered unrealistic. Their consistent belief allowed them to act differently, persist longer, and eventually reshape reality. The difference was not external advantage, but internal thought energy sustained over time. Language plays a powerful role in shaping thought energy. The words you speak internally and externally reinforce mental patterns. Statements like "I can't," "I always fail," or "nothing works for me" send repeated signals to the mind that restrict effort and creativity. Conversely, statements such as "I am learning," "I am improving," or "I will find a way," look at your generate constructive energy that encourages persistence. Words are not merely sounds. They are carriers of thought energy that influence emotional state and behavior. Changing language gradually changes identity because repeated expressions reinforce belief. Thoughts also influence relationships. The way you think about others affects how you interact with them. If you assume rejection or judgment, your behavior may become defensive or distant, unintentionally creating the outcome you feared. Positive expectations often lead to openness and warmth, encouraging cooperation and connection. This demonstrates how thought energy extends beyond the individual and shapes social environments. People respond not only to actions but to the emotional energy behind those actions. Another important aspect of thought energy is focus. The human mind cannot fully concentrate on multiple opposing ideas simultaneously. Whatever thought dominates attention shapes emotional experience. Quine. This means that even in difficult circumstances, choosing constructive thoughts changes how challenges are experienced. Focusing on solutions activates problem-solving abilities, while focusing solely on problems increases stress without progress. Thought energy directs mental resources toward either growth or stagnation. Visualization is one of the clearest demonstrations of thoughts as energy. When you vividly imagine a goal, the brain activates similar neural pathways, as if the event were actually occurring. Athletes, performers, and leaders often use visualization to mentally rehearse success before real performance. This practice strengthens confidence and prepares the mind for action. The imagined experience becomes familiar, reducing fear when real opportunities appear. Visualization works because repeated mental images carry energetic influence over behavior and emotional readiness. Consistency is essential because isolated thoughts have limited impact, while repeated thoughts accumulate power. A single positive thought cannot overcome years of self-doubt, but consistent positive thinking gradually reshapes mental patterns. Just as physical strength develops through repeated exercise, mental strength develops through repeated intentional thinking. Patience is necessary because thought energy builds momentum over time, often invisibly at first. Awareness of thought energy also brings responsibility. Once you understand that thoughts influence reality, you become accountable for the mental environment you maintain. This does not mean suppressing negative emotions or pretending difficulties do not exist. Instead, it means acknowledging challenges while choosing thoughts that encourage constructive action rather than helplessness. Responsible thinking balances honesty with hope, realism with possibility. External influences constantly compete for attention: news, social media, opinions, and comparisons. Without conscious awareness, these influences shape thought patterns automatically. Protecting thought energy requires intentional selection of what you consume mentally. Just as diet affects physical health, information affects mental health. Positive, educational, and inspiring input strengthens constructive thinking, while constant exposure to negativity reinforces fear and comparison. Gratitude is a powerful way to shift thought energy. When attention focuses on appreciation, the mind moves away from scarcity and toward abundance. Gratitude does not ignore problems. It changes emotional perspective, allowing resilience to grow. People who practice gratitude regularly often experience increased motivation because appreciation fuels optimism and reduces emotional exhaustion. Thought energy also affects persistence. When goals feel distant, negative think can drain motivation quickly. Positive thinking sustains effort by reinforcing belief in progress. Persistence is less about willpower and more about maintaining supportive thought patterns. A mind filled with encouraging thoughts naturally continues forward, while a mind filled with doubt seeks escape from difficulty. Over time, repeated thoughts shape identity. You begin to see yourself according to the story your thoughts tell. If the story is one of limitation, behavior aligns with that identity. If the story emphasizes growth and capability, actions expand accordingly. Identity is not fixed. It evolves based on consistent mental narratives. By consciously choosing thoughts, you gradually redefine who you believe yourself to be. Silence and reflection strengthen awareness of thought energy. In moments of stillness, you can observe thoughts without immediately reacting. This observation reveals how frequently thoughts repeat and how they influence emotions. With practice, you gain the ability to redirect attention intentionally rather than being pulled automatically by habitual thinking. Thought energy also connects closely with action. Positive thinking alone is not enough. It must inspire movement. Constructive thoughts encourage courage, planning, and effort. Action then reinforces belief through experience, creating a cycle where thought and action strengthen each other. When thoughts and actions align, progress accelerates because internal resistance decreases. Belief acts as a magnifier of thought energy. Thoughts repeated with strong emotion become beliefs, and beliefs influence perception deeply. When belief aligns with possibility, obstacles appear temporary rather than permanent. Belief transforms effort into commitment and challenges into stepping stones. This is why individuals with strong belief often achieve results others consider unlikely. Their sustained thought energy fuels persistence long enough for results to emerge. Understanding that thoughts are energy changes how you approach daily life. Small moments become opportunities to shape mental direction, choosing patience instead of frustration, curiosity instead of fear, and determination instead of doubt. Gradually transforms emotional experience. Life may still present uncertainty, but your internal response becomes stable and purposeful. As this understanding deepens, you begin to recognize that mastery of thought is lifelong work. New challenges introduce new fears and beliefs to examine. Growth requires continual awareness and adjustment. Rather than striving for perfect thinking, the goal becomes conscious thinking, noticing when thoughts drift toward limitation and gently guiding them back toward empowerment. Ultimately, realizing that thoughts are energy reveals that personal transformation begins internally, long before external change appears. Every repeated thought is a seed planted in the mind. Some seeds grow into confidence, creativity, and resilience, while others grow into fear and limitation. The choice of which seeds to nurture belongs to you. By directing thought energy intentionally, you participate actively in shaping your experiences rather than passively reacting to them. When you fully accept the power of thought energy, you stop underestimating the quiet conversations happening inside your mind. You understand that each thought matters because it contributes to the direction of your life. With patience, discipline, and awareness, you learn to cultivate thoughts that support growth, purpose, and possibility. Over time, the energy you generate internally begins to reflect outwardly, influencing actions, relationships, and opportunities in ways that once seemed impossible. Through consistent intentional thinking, you discover that the greatest force shaping your reality has been with you all along. The energy of your own thoughts. Alignment is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood principles of personal transformation. Many people work hard, dream big, and desire change. Yet they feel stuck because different parts of their inner world are moving in opposite directions. They think positively but feel doubtful. They feel motivated but fail to act consistently. They take action but internally expect failure. When thoughts, emotions, and actions are disconnected, energy becomes scattered and progress slows. True power emerges when these three forces begin moving together toward the same purpose. Alignment is the moment when what you think, what you feel, and what you do support one another instead of competing against each other. Every human being operates through these three layers simultaneously. Thoughts create direction, emotions create energy, and actions create results. When one of these elements is missing or contradictory, effort becomes exhausting. Imagine trying to drive a car while pressing the accelerator and brake at the same time. Movement happens, but slowly and with strain. This is how misalignment feels in life. A person may set goals but secretly believe they are unworthy. They may work towards success while emotionally fearing change. They may desire growth, but repeatedly choose comfortable habits. The conflict between mind, emotion, and behavior drains momentum. Alignment begins with honest self-awareness. You must first notice whether your thoughts truly match your desires. Many people say they want success, confidence, or peace, yet their inner dialogue is filled with worry or self-criticism. Thoughts become instructions to the subconscious mind. If your thinking constantly predicts struggle, your emotional state follows that expectation. Awareness allows you to identify hidden contradictions and begin adjusting them intentionally. Emotions are the bridge between thought and action. Thoughts alone remain abstract unless they generate emotional energy. When you genuinely believe in an idea, emotion gives it strength. Excitement, determination, gratitude, and hope energize action naturally. Conversely, fear and doubt weaken motivation. This is why forcing action without emotional alignment often leads to burnout. The body resists what the heart does not support. Emotional alignment occurs when you allow yourself to feel connected to your purpose, rather than pressured by obligation or comparison. Many people attempt to control emotions by suppressing them, but alignment requires understanding emotions instead of ignoring them. Emotions reveal whether your internal beliefs support your goals. Persistent anxiety may signal unresolved fear or unrealistic expectations. Lack of motivation may indicate that your actions are disconnected from genuine values. Listening to emotions without judgment provides guidance. When thoughts are adjusted to reflect growth and possibility, emotional resistance gradually softens, making action feel more natural. Action is the physical expression of alignment. Thoughts and emotions create readiness, but action transforms potential into reality. However, action becomes powerful only when it reflects internal belief. When actions contradict inner thinking, inconsistency appears. A person may start projects enthusiastically but abandon them quickly because underlying doubts remain unresolved. Alignment strengthens discipline because actions feel meaningful rather than forced. Effort becomes an expression of identity rather than a struggle against resistance. One of the greatest barriers to alignment is fear of failure. Fear creates separation between intention and behavior. A person may think about, think about, opportunities, but hesitate emotionally, leading to inaction. Over time, this disconnect reduces confidence. Alignment requires redefining failure as feedback rather than personal judgment. When thoughts accept learning as part of growth, emotions shift from fear to curiosity, and action becomes possible again. Plays a central role in alignment. Beliefs act as filters through which thoughts and emotions pass. If belief supports capability, thoughts become encouraging and emotions become empowering. If belief emphasizes limitation, even positive thinking feels artificial. Changing belief requires repetition and experience. Small, consistent actions aligned with positive thoughts gradually reshape belief through evidence, not. Confidence grows not from sudden transformation, but from repeated alignment between intention and behavior. Another important aspect of alignment is clarity of purpose. Without clear direction, thoughts scatter, emotions fluctuate, and actions lack consistency. Purpose acts as a compass guiding all three elements. When purpose is clear, decisions become easier because thoughts naturally return to meaningful goals. Emotional energy strengthens because actions feel connected to something larger than immediate comfort. Alignment thrives when daily habits reflect long-term vision. The environment also influences alignment. Surroundings filled with negativity or distraction can disrupt mental and emotional balance. People absorb attitudes and expectations from those around them. Choosing supportive environments helps maintain consistency between thought, feeling, and action. Alignment is easier when external influences reinforce internal intentions rather than challenge them constantly. Patience is essential because alignment develops gradually. Years of conditioned thinking and emotional patterns cannot change instantly. At first, new thoughts may feel unfamiliar, and actions may require conscious effort. Over time, repetition creates harmony. What once required discipline becomes natural behavior. The mind learns to trust new patterns, and emotional resistance decreases. In low alignment also enhances decision-making. When thoughts, emotions, and actions agree, choices feel clear and confident. Doubt decreases because internal conflict disappears. Even difficult decisions become manageable because you understand why you are acting. This clarity reduces regret and strengthens resilience during challenges. Another benefit of alignment is authenticity. Many people experience stress from trying to meet expectations that do not match their true values. Acting against inner truth creates emotional tension. Alignment encourages living according to genuine beliefs rather than external approval. Authenticity increases confidence because actions reflect identity instead of performance. Consistency grows naturally through alignment. Discipline is often misunderstood as forcing yourself to act despite resistance. While effort is necessary, aligned action feels different. When thoughts support goals and emotions energize effort, consistency becomes sustainable. Motivation no longer depends solely on mood because purpose maintains direction even during difficult moments. Alignment also changes how success is experienced. Without alignment, Achieving goals may feel empty because internal satisfaction is missing. When success results from aligned thought, emotion, and action, fulfillment accompanies achievement. The journey itself becomes meaningful rather than merely a path toward validation. Challenges test alignment, but also strengthen it. Difficult moments reveal whether thoughts remain supportive, emotions remain balanced, and actions remain purposeful. Instead of breaking alignment, challenges can deepen commitment. Each obstacle overcome through aligned effort reinforces belief in personal capability. Self-trust grows as alignment strengthens. When you repeatedly act in harmony with your intentions, you begin trusting your decisions and abilities. This trust reduces overthinking and fear of judgment. Confidence becomes grounded in experience rather than external praise. Alignment also improves relationships. When you understand your thoughts and emotions clearly, communication becomes honest and respectful. You respond intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. Others sense consistency and reliability, strengthening connection and mutual understanding. Silence and reflection help maintain alignment. Regular moments of introspection allow you to evaluate whether your thoughts, feelings, and actions remain connected. Life constantly introduces new pressures that can create misalignment. Reflection realigns priorities and restores clarity. Over time, alignment transforms identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to change and begin seeing yourself as someone living intentionally. Growth becomes part of who you are, rather than something you struggle to achieve. The gap between aspiration and behavior closes. Alignment does not eliminate uncertainty or difficulty, but it changes how you move through them. Instead of confusion, you experience direction. Instead of resistance, you experience flow. Effort still exists, but it feels purposeful rather than exhausting. As alignment deepens, creativity and intuition increase. When internal conflict quiets, mental energy becomes available for innovation and insight. Solutions appear more easily because attention is not divided by doubt or contradiction. Ultimately, alignment is about unity within yourself. It is the harmony between vision and feeling, intention and behavior. When thoughts believe, emotions support, and actio, cart NSTs, follow, momentum becomes unstoppable. Life begins to feel less like constant struggle and more like meaningful progress. You realize that transformation is not about forcing change from the outside, but organizing your inner world so that every part of you moves in the same direction. Thoughts become clear, emotions become powerful allies, and actions become consistent expressions of purpose. Through alignment, potential turns into reality, not through luck or sudden miracles, but through the steady cooperation of mind, heart, and behavior, working together as one unified force. Visualization is one of the most powerful abilities of the human mind, yet it is often misunderstood as simple imagination or wishful thinking. In reality, visualization is the process of consciously creating mental images that influence belief, emotion, and behavior long before results appear in the physical world. Every structure ever built, every invention ever created, and every achievement ever accomplished existed first as an image in someone's mind. The human brain has the unique ability to rehearse reality internally, and this ability allows individuals to prepare for success before circumstances change. Visualization is not escaping reality. It is designing reality from within. The mind responds strongly to images. While words communicate ideas, images create experience. When you vividly imagine a situation, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways that would activate if the event were actually happening. This means visualization becomes a form of mental practice. Athletes mentally rehearse performances, speakers imagine confident presentations, and creators envision completed work before beginning. These mental rehearsals build familiarity, and familiarity reduces fear. The unknown becomes known within the mind, making action easier when real opportunities appear. Say people visualize unconsciously without realizing it. Unfortunately, they often imagine negative outcomes. They picture failure before trying, embarrassment before speaking, or rejection before connecting with others. These repeated mental images create anxiety because the brain interprets imagined danger as real. Visualization works, whether it is intentional or accidental. The difference lies in direction. But when visualization is guided consciously toward positive outcomes, it becomes a tool for growth rather than limitation. Visualization builds reality by shaping belief. The subconscious mind learns through repetition and emotion. When you repeatedly see yourself achieving a goal, your mind begins accepting that outcome as possible. Belief grows not from external proof, but from internal familiarity. The imagined future starts to feel achievable rather than distant. This shift influences confidence, and confidence changes behavior. A person who believes success is possible approaches challenges differently from someone who expects failure. Emotion strengthens visualization. Simply thinking about success without emotional connection has limited impact. When visualization includes feeling, excitement, gratitude, pride, or peace, the experience becomes more powerful. Emotion signals importance to the brain, reinforcing the mental image. The combination of clear imagery and strong emotion creates a deep impression within the subconscious mind. Over time, this impression influences decisions, habits, and reactions automatically. Visualization also clarifies goals. Many people struggle because their desires remain vague. They want improvement but cannot clearly picture what success looks like. Visualization forces specificity. When you imagine details where you are, how you feel, what you are doing, your mind gains direction. Clear direction reduces confusion and helps prioritize actions aligned with your vision. Instead of wandering through possibilities, you begin moving toward a defined outcome. Another important effect of visualization is motivation. Goals often feel overwhelming when viewed only from the present moment. Visualization allows you to experience the emotional reward of achievement before it happens. This emotional preview increases motivation because the mind associates effort with meaningful results. The future stops feeling abstract and becomes emotionally real, encouraging persistence during difficult stages of growth. Visualization does not replace action. It prepares action. The brain constantly searches for ways to turn familiar images into reality. When a goal is repeatedly visualized, your attention naturally notices opportunities connected to it. Ideas appear more frequently, solutions become easier to recognize, and courage increases. This process may feel like coincidence, but it is the result of mental focus, directing awareness toward relevant possibilities. Fear often decreases through visualization because uncertainty decreases. Many fears exist because the mind lacks a clear picture of success. By mentally rehearsing positive outcomes, you reduce the emotional shock of new experiences. A difficult conversation feels less intimidating after visualizing calm communication. A challenging task feels manageable after imagining successful completion. Visualization transforms unfamiliar experiences into mentally practiced events. Consistency is essential for visualization to influence reality. Occasional imagining has little impact, but repeated visualization strengthens neural pathways. Just as physical exercise strengthens muscles, mental repetition strengthens belief and emotional readiness. Daily visualization gradually reshapes expectations about what is possible. Over time, the mind begins a ligning behavior with the images it repeatedly experiences. Visualization also improves problem solving. When you imagine achieving a goal, the brain naturally explores pathways leading to that outcome. Creative solutions emerge because the mind works backward from the desired result. Instead of focusing solely on obstacles, attention shifts towards strategies and possibilities. This creative thinking often occurs subconsciously, leading to sudden insights or ideas that feel intuitive. Self-image changes through visualization as well. People act according to how they see themselves internally. If someone visualizes confidence and competence consistently, their identity gradually adjusts to match those images. Behavior follows identity. Confidence becomes natural rather than forced because the mind has accepted a new internal representation of self. Visualization can also strengthen resilience. During difficult periods, mentally connecting with a positive future provides emotional stability. Hope becomes tangible rather than theoretical. Seeing yourself overcoming challenges reinforces determination and prevents temporary setbacks from feeling permanent. Visualization reminds you that present struggles are part of a larger journey rather than final outcomes. The environment of visualization matters. Quiet moments without distraction allow deeper focus. When the mind is calm, images become clearer and emotional connection stronger. Many people find visualization effective before sleep or immediately after waking, because the subconscious mind is more receptive during these periods. In these states, imagination flows more freely and mental resistance decreases. Sensory detail enhances visualization. The more vividly you imagine sights, sounds, feelings, and even physical sensations, the more real the experience becomes to the brain. Instead of simply thinking about look at your excess, you imagine the environment, the emotions, and the actions involved. This richness strengthens the mental rehearsal and increases its influence on belief. Visualization also helps align long-term goals with daily habits. When you regularly picture your desired future, small actions gain meaning. Routine tasks become steps toward a vision rather than isolated efforts. This connection increases consistency because daily behavior feels purposeful instead of repetitive. Doubt may arise during visualization, especially when goals seem far from current reality. This is natural. The mind resists unfamiliar beliefs initially. Persistence gradually reduces resistance. Each repetition makes the image more familiar and believable. Over time, skepticism fades as confidence grows through both mental rehearsal and real-world progress. Visualization encourages patience because you repeatedly experience the future. Internally, urgency decreases. You understand that growth is unfolding even when results are not immediately visible. This patience prevents frustration and supports steady progress. Another powerful aspect of visualization is emotional regulation. Imagining calm responses to stressful situations trains the mind to remain composed during real challenges. Emotional reactions become more controlled because the brain has practiced balanced responses. Visualization becomes preparation not only for success, but for stability under pressure. Visualization also strengthens focus by reducing distractions. When your mind holds a clear image of purpose, unnecessary activities lose appeal. Decisions become easier because you evaluate choices based on whether they support or distract from your vision. Clarity reduces wasted energy and increases productivity. Importantly, visualization works best when combined with belief and action. Imagining success without effort creates frustration, while effort without vision creates exhaustion. Visualization bridges intention and execution, ensuring that actions move toward meaningful outcomes. Over time, repeated visualization reshapes expectations about life itself. You begin anticipating growth rather than fearing failure. Confidence becomes grounded in preparation rather than luck. Opportunities feel natural because your mind has already accepted them as part of your journey. Visualization also deepens gratitude. When you mentally experience future success, appreciation arises for both present progress and future possibility. Gratitude strengthens emotional well-being and reinforces positive thinking patterns that support continued growth. As visualization becomes a habit, you notice changes in posture, communication, and decision-making. You carry yourself differently because your mind holds a consistent image of capability. Others respond to this confidence, creating feedback that further strengthens belief. Ultimately, visualization builds reality by transforming internal experience first. The outer world often reflects sustained inner patterns. By consciously directing mental imagery, you shape belief, emotion, and behavior in ways that gradually influence outcomes. Visualization does not instantly change circumstances, but it changes the person experiencing those circumstances. And that change alters how opportunities are recognized and pursued. Through consistent visualization, imagination becomes preparation, belief becomes natural, and action becomes aligned with purpose. The future stops being something unpredictable and becomes something intentionally created, step by step. You begin to understand that reality is not only what you see around you, but also what you repeatedly see within your mind. By choosing empowering images and nurturing them with emotion and persistence, you participate actively in shaping the direction of your life, proving that the images you hold inside today can become the experiences you live tomorrow. Inner discipline is often misunderstood as restriction or harsh self-control, but in truth, it is the quiet force that unlocks human potential. It is the ability to guide your thoughts, emotions, and actions deliberately instead of being controlled by impulse, distraction, or temporary feelings. Every person possesses potential, yet potential alone does not create transformation. Talent without discipline fades. Motivation without discipline disappears. And dreams without discipline remain unrealized ideas. Inner discipline acts as the bridge between possibility and achievement, allowing hidden strength to emerge gradually and consistently over time. Human beings naturally seek comfort and immediate gratification. The mind prefers familiar habits because they require less effort and less uncertainty. However, growth exists beyond comfort. Inner discipline begins when you learn to act according to purpose rather than mood. It is choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term ease. This choice may seem small in individual moments, but repeated decisions shape identity. Each disciplined action strengthens self-respect because you prove to yourself that your intentions matter more than temporary resistance. One of the foundations of inner discipline is awareness of thought patterns. Undisciplined thinking often moves automatically toward worry, comparison, or distraction. Without awareness, these thoughts influence behavior unconsciously. Discipline does not mean suppressing thoughts, but guiding them intentionally. When negative thinking appears, disciplined awareness redirects attention toward solutions or constructive perspectives. Over time, this mental training builds resilience because challenges are approached with clarity rather than emotional overwhelm. Consistency is the language of discipline. Many people rely on bursts of motivation, but motivation fluctuates. Discipline creates stability when enthusiasm fades. Showing up repeatedly even when progress feels slow strengthens character. Small actions performed daily accumulate into powerful change. Just as water shapes stone through persistence rather than force, disciplined habits reshape life gradually but permanently. Inner discipline also requires emotional regulation. Emotions are natural and valuable, but acting solely based on emotion creates instability. Discipline allows you to acknowledge feelings without becoming controlled by them. You learn to pause before reacting, to choose responses aligned with values rather than impulses. This emotional balance improves decision-making and strengthens relationships because actions become intentional rather than reactive. Another aspect of discipline is focus. Modern life constantly competes for attention through noise, information, and distraction. Without discipline, attention becomes scattered and energy is wasted. Focused attention, however, multiplies effectiveness. When you commit fully to one task at a time, productivity increases and mental clarity improves. Discipline protects attention by setting boundaries around time and energy, ensuring that meaningful goals receive priority. Inner discipline strengthens self-trust. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, confidence grows. Conversely, repeated self-broken promises weaken belief in personal ability. Discipline rebuilds this trust through reliability. Discipline rebuilds this trust through reliability. When you decide to act and follow through consistently, you develop a sense of internal stability. You begin to rely on yourself rather than waiting for external pressure or validation. Patience is closely connected to discipline. Many people abandon goals because results are not immediate. Discipline teaches acceptance of gradual progress. Growth often occurs invisibly before becoming visible. Skills develop quietly, habits strengthen slowly, and understanding deepens over time. Discipline allows you to continue working during periods when rewards are not yet apparent. trusting that effort is accumulating beneath the surface. Inner discipline also involves managing environment and influence. Surroundings shape behavior more than willpower alone. Disciplined individuals intentionally create environments that support growth, limiting distractions, choosing supportive relationships, and engaging with ideas that encourage progress. Instead of relying solely on resistance against negative influences, discipline reduces exposure to them altogether. Self-reflection strengthens discipline by providing feedback. Regularly evaluating actions and intentions helps identify patterns that support or hinder growth. Reflection is not self-criticism, but self-understanding. By observing what works and what does not, you refine habits and maintain alignment with purpose. This process transforms mistakes into learning opportunities rather than sources of discouragement. Inner discipline also requires clarity of values. Without knowing what truly matters, discipline feels like punishment. When actions connect to meaningful purpose, discipline becomes empowering. Waking early, practicing consistently, or working through difficulty feels worthwhile because it serves something important. Purpose fuels discipline by providing direction and emotional meaning. Another powerful element of discipline is delayed gratification. The ability to wait for greater rewards strengthens long-term success. Choosing preparation over procrastination, learning over entertainment, or improvement over comfort develops mental strength. Delayed gratification trains the mind to prioritize future benefit, creating habits that compound into lasting achievement. Discipline does not eliminate rest or enjoyment. Instead, it balances them. True discipline includes recovery and self-care because sustainable progress requires energy renewal. Knowing when to rest is as important as knowing when to work. Discipline creates structure that prevents burnout by ensuring effort remains purposeful and balanced. Inner discipline transforms identity gradually. At first, disciplined actions may feel unnatural, requiring conscious effort. Over time, repetition turns effort into habit. Habits shape character, and character shapes destiny. You stop seeing discipline as something you force and begin experiencing it as part of who you are. Actions aligned with growth become automatic expressions of identity. Challenges strengthen discipline by testing commitment. Difficult moments reveal whether actions depend on convenience or conviction. Each challenge overcome reinforces mental strength and increases resilience. Discipline grows stronger through adversity, because perseverance proves capability beyond comfort. Discipline also enhances creativity. Contrary to popular belief, creativity thrives within structure. Consistent practice sharpens skills and allows ideas to develop fully. Without discipline, creative impulses remain incomplete. Structured effort provides the foundation upon which imagination can flourish. Another benefit of inner discipline is emotional freedom. While discipline may appear restrictive, it actually reduces stress. Organized habits reduce chaos. Preparation reduces anxiety, and consistency reduces uncertainty. Freedom emerges not from absence of structure, but from mastery of self. When you control your actions, circumstances feel less overwhelming. Inner discipline influences relationships as well. Reliability builds trust with others. People respect individuals who demonstrate consistency and integrity. Discipline encourages honest communication, responsibility, and respect for commitments, strengthening personal and professional connections. The journey toward discipline often begins with small decisions. Attempting drastic change can create overwhelm, but small, consistent improvements build momentum. Choosing one positive habit and maintaining it daily creates confidence that expands into other areas of life. Progress compounds through persistence rather than intensity. Self-compassion is essential during this process. Discipline does not require perfection. Mistakes and setbacks are natural parts of growth. The disciplined response is not self-punishment, but recommitment. Learning to restart quickly after setbacks prevents discouragement from becoming abandonment. Inner discipline also strengthens mental clarity. When habits become organized, mental energy is freed from constant decision-making. Routine reduces cognitive overload, allowing creativity and strategic thinking to expand. A disciplined life simplifies choices, making progress smoother and more focused. As discipline deepens, external validation becomes less necessary. Motivation shifts from seeking approval to pursuing personal excellence. Satisfaction arises from progress itself, rather than comparison with others. This internal motivation creates stability because it does not depend on changing external opinions. Discipline connects closely with confidence, because confidence grows from evidence of effort. Each completed task, each maintained habit, and each challenge faced becomes proof of capability. Confidence built through discipline is durable because it rests on experience rather than temporary emotion. Over time, disciplined thinking transforms perception of obstacles. Instead of seeing difficulty as a barrier, you begin seeing it as training. Challenges become opportunities to strengthen patience, focus, and resilience. This mindset turns adversity into growth rather than discouragement. Inner discipline ultimately unlocks infinite potential by organizing energy. Human potential often remains hidden not due to lack of ability, but due to scattered effort. Discipline channels energy toward meaningful direction. When thoughts remain focused, emotions remain balanced, and actions remain consistent, progress accelerates naturally. The process is quiet and often unnoticed by others. Discipline rarely appears dramatic. It exists in daily choices made without applause. Yet these small, invisible decisions create extraordinary outcomes over time. Success becomes the visible result of countless disciplined moments accumulated consistently. As inner discipline matures, life begins to feel intentional rather than reactive. You respond to circumstances thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Goals feel achievable because habits support them. Confidence grows because actions match values. Peace increases because you know you are directing your life consciously. Ultimately, inner discipline is an act of self-respect. It reflects the belief that your future deserves effort, patience, and commitment. By guiding your thoughts, managing your emotions, and honoring your actions consistently, you unlock abilities that once seemed unreachable. Potential transforms into reality, not through sudden inspiration but through steady, disciplined progress. Through inner discipline, you discover that greatness is not reserved for a select few, but available to anyone willing to cultivate consistency and self-mastery. The infinite potential within you does not awaken through chance. It awakens through daily choices aligned with purpose. Step by step, habit by habit, disciplined action reveals strengths you did not know existed, proving that the power to transform your life has always been within your control, waiting patiently for your commitment to bring it to life.